There is no comparison between the difficulties that the Chinese economy is having to the fundamental systemic crisis of the European economy. In my view, China is experiencing the natural slowdown of an economy which for 30 years has been growing very fast. COVID was the reason why that slowdown took place now. If China has had a mounting debt at the level of the prefectures, the local government for a while, whenever debt increases, then at some point there is a slowdown until it's consolidated. Europe is nowhere near the level of systemic cohesion that China has. Europe is fragmented. Think about our monetary system. Our monetary system is designed to create problems. Like, when you drive your car, you may have an accident. Let's hope you don't. But your car is not designed to have an accident. It was not created to have an accident. Okay, an accident is something that can be avoided. If you're a bit more careful, you drive a bit more slowly, you respect the road rules, you will not have an accident. The European monetary system was designed to have an accident. Why am I saying that? We have a central bank that doesn't have a common treasury, Ministry of Finance, next to it. This is the only central bank in the world that doesn't have a common treasury to issue common debt on behalf of the whole of the Eurozone. So we have a central bank without a state behind it, because the European Central Bank is not allowed to help our member states. It's not allowed. So in Japan, since the 1990s, when the Japanese government is in debt or has a deficit, the Central Bank of Japan can finance the government. In the European Central Bank, that's not allowed. So that's point number one. Point number two, we have separate banking systems. So France has its own banking system, Italy has its own banking system. When the banking system of France is in trouble, the French government must bail it out, but it doesn't have a central bank from which it can actually seek help. Now, that's what I'm saying. It was like, again, to use the parable of a car, it was like removing the shock absorbers from your car, the shock absorbers which allow, if there's a bump, for the wheel to go up so that the car doesn't get extremely shaken. This is our own central banks and separate currencies, and then driving the car into a pothole. That's what we've done here. The result is this, that the German economy, which was always the driving force behind the European economy, which relied for years, for decades, on selling their net exports to Greece, to Italy, to Spain. They were a manufacturing miracle. They were producing a lot more cars and washing machines and refrigerators and chemicals that they could absorb, that they could buy, and they were selling them to us Greeks, to the French, to the Italians, and so on. And that was creating a surplus, which was coming back into Germany, which was then leaving Germany in the form of loans. Now, there was a recycling system. That broke down in 2008, completely. And now we have countries like Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, that through austerity, they have been pushed to a lower level of economic activity, which means that our countries cannot absorb the exports of Germany. Now, this is a connection with China. Since 2009, China took over from the south of Europe, and your economy imported from Germany the cars and washing machines and chemicals and propellers and submarines and so on. So China stabilized Germany and therefore stabilized Europe. But at some point, two things happened. Firstly, the Chinese manufacturing sector advanced to a stage where you don't need to import stuff from Germany anymore. Now you've got Volkswagen that comes to China to recruit Chinese engineers because they don't have enough engineers in Germany. That's the first thing that has happened. The second thing that has happened is the new Cold War that was unleashed initially by Donald Trump against China and then turbocharged by Joe Biden. And Washington is forcing Europe and Germany to de-risk, to de-globalize, to effectively to reduce its economic relations with China. In other words, to sell less to China. Now they're going to introduce a stupid tax on electric cars, BYD and so on, coming from China to Germany. And what do they expect? That then the Chinese will buy more stuff from them? No, the opposite is going to happen. The whole model of the European economy, which is based on the division between surplus countries like Germany and deficit countries like Greece, that was shaken really badly in 2008. China stabilized that model